Also, Siwea paused to smile before he said, Master deliberately let you go. That's what I think as well. I had the shock of my life. Zhu Honggong shook his head. He did not want to revisit that memory. With Master's usual disposition, I don't think he would let you go for no reason. I suspect there's someone helping him. Siwea recalled the Evil Sky Pavilion had recruited several new members. Perhaps there were some intelligent ones among those people. There's no one else but little junior sister there. She's as fierce as ever. She was as close to jumping down and biting me. Zhu Honggong said bitterly. Siwea rolled his eyes at him and ignored Zhu Honggong. I can't communicate with this dim-wit. After a while, he said, Let's go. He raised his hand slightly, and a peacock plume that shone with golden radiance on both ends and purple radiance in between appeared. Its exterior seemed to be a cylinder forged from pure gold. Siwea gave it a light wave. Whoosh! The hidden weapons inside the cylinder shot toward a huge tree. The hidden weapons looked extremely dazzling. They were as stunning as a peacock unfurling its tail feathers. Bang! 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 The hidden weapons were embedded in the huge tree, like nails. Siwea and Zhu Honggong did not even look back. With swift movements, they disappeared into forest. The dazzling hidden weapons were golden energy seals condensed from primal chi. They were as beautiful as golden feathers. However, while the onlooker was mesmerized by the shocking beauty, it had already claimed a life. Crack! After the huge tree fell, a sneaky cultivator's eyes were widened in fear as he stared at the hidden weapon embedded in his chest. When the peacock unfurled its feathers, the cultivator lost his last breath immediately and fell to the ground. Meanwhile, Zhou steered by and toward the top of the green jade altar. He looked down and saw many people were gathered on the green jade altar's spacious plaza. The green jade altar was a righteous sex territory. However, it was only a place where the righteous sex members practiced swordplay and cultivated. Master, over there. Bayan dubbed down on Zhou's order. When the cultivators on the green jade altar saw Bayan, a shocked expression appeared on their faces. Who's that? Everyone be careful. The audacity, barging into the green jade altar like this. Dozens of cultivators in navy blue robes stood in neat rows and unsheathed their swords to face this newcomer. Meanwhile, some of the cultivators in black robes looked at the sky in confusion. Zhou said clearly, Where's Hua Wudao? Hua Wudao. On the green jade altar, the cultivators exchanged looks among themselves. The green jade altar is the holy land of cultivation for the righteous sect. My old friend, don't you think it's inappropriate for you to come here uninvited? Little Yuan could not stifle her laughter. Zhou looked at her coldly, and she quickly stopped laughing, turning docile and solemn. She pointed at the cultivators and said, We'll come as we please. Why should we wait for an invitation? Ridiculous. Zhou did not descend immediately. This was the righteous sex territory. After all, if they knew that he was a great villain, danger might rain down on him from every direction. If it's possible, I want to use as few item cards as possible. The cultivation path is long. If my frequent purchase of the cards causes the price to increase beyond what affordable, while my cultivation base stays stagnant, I'm as good as dead. At this moment, Duan Xing appeared. He landed on the green jade altar and cupped his hands into fists at everyone. He said, Everyone, this is the Buddhist Grandmaster I've mentioned before. On Runin's holy altar, he's the Grandmaster who killed the monk Kong Xian with a single strike. He quickly changed his words midway through a sentence. He was used to referring monks as bald donkeys after all. It would not be appropriate for him to use this term in front of the Grandmaster. Grandmaster? Everyone was shocked. The righteous sex disciples shifted uneasily. The Fiend Temple's disciples, on the other hand, cupped their fists together. Greetings, Grandmaster. Zhou ordered Bayan to descend on the green jade altar. After it had descended, it did not leave. It sat on its haunches obediently, baring its fangs once in a while. The righteous sex disciples gulped at the sight of this. They did not know if they should feel frightened or envious. At this moment, Zhang Chu walked out and said, My name's Zhang Chu, The fifth elder, the righteous sect. Greetings, Grandmaster. With Zhang Chu as an example, the other disciples followed suit and cupped their fists to greet Lu Zhou as well. Lu Zhou merely stroked his beard and nodded. He spoke in a neutral tone, where Zhang Yuan Shan, the righteous sect's fifth elder, Zhang Chu, bowed and said, "We're receiving important guests on the Green Jade altar today. However, the Evil Sky Pavilion's evil king unexpectedly showed up to cause trouble. For this reason, Zhang Yuan Shan had left with the other guests prematurely. Grandmaster, if you like, you can lodge in the Green Jade altar and wait for our sect master's return." Duan Xing sighed before he chimed in, "It's all because of that villain. What a shame. If Grandmaster had captured the evil king earlier, the matter today would have been settled. What a shame." Lu Zhou felt that it was a shame as well. If only Old Eighth and Old Seventh did not spoil his plans, he might have been able to meet Zhang Yuan Shan and Hua Wudao. He regretted the fact that his binding cage card failed to hit its target. However, the Green Jade altar was the righteous sect's territory, after all. There was also a grand formation around the Green Jade altar. If Lu Zhou wanted to act against Zhang Yuanshan, he would have to spend a fortune on buying cards. He felt that it was not worth it to waste too many cards on a single person. Let's play it safe for now. If I go overboard, I might lose my life. At that time, I can forget about investigating the truth behind the Fish Dragon Village's incident. Lu Zhou did not have time to chat with these people. He glanced at the disciples standing on Green Jade Altars Plaza. Some of them were in the body-tempering realm, while most of them had just recently entered the mystic enlightening realm. There were also a few in the sense-condensing realm, the Brahmancy realm, and the divine court realm, who were also the leaders. It's truly a waste of my item cards if I'd use them against these people. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and asked, Wu Dao has returned to Yun sect? Elder Hua has been cultivating in seclusion in the Yun sect all these years. He's finally emerged from seclusion. I don't think he'll be returning to the Yun sect anytime soon, someone from the crowd said. Duan Xing cupped his fist and said, Hua Wudao was defeated by the Evil Sky Pavilion's GTR now 20 years ago. This has become a knot in his heart. I'm afraid it'll be difficult for him to improve if he doesn't resolve the knot in his heart. I won't be surprised if he has gone to the Evil Sky Pavilion to resolve this problem. Everyone was shocked. Some of the disciples who knew about this began discussing among themselves. Elder Hua's cultivation base has barely improved over the last 20 years. He's seeking trouble. To each his own. It's been 20 years. Perhaps Elder Hua has some tricks up his sleeve. I think the outcome will be grim. Recently, the 4 Dark Knights from the Divine Capital's secret forces went to the Evil Sky Pavilion, but they didn't return. Knowing the old villain, it can't be anything good. The 4 Dark Knights? Didn't an elder mention that their leader is Fan Shouwen, who was at the top of the blacklist 300 years ago? The further they discussed this, the more uncertain they felt. If the fate of a person who was formerly at the top of the blacklist was unknown after visiting the Evil Sky Pavilion, how could Hua Wudao, whose cultivation base remained stagnant in the last 20 years, stand a chance? Silence! The 5th elder barked. Look at you, incompetent fools. Scared out of your wits after a few words of discussion. If the old villain stand before you now, won't you be peeing your pants? Little Yuaner did not laugh. Perhaps her funny bone had become immune to these situations. She walked to Lu Zhou and said in a soft voice, Master, they're terribly afraid of you. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and looked in the direction of Measure Heaven River. Based on his calculations, Mingshi Yin and Duan Musheng were supposed to arrive by now. As for Hua Wudao, based on what he heard, it seemed like he would be seeing Hua Wudao sooner or later. If that was the case, all he had to do was guard the tree stump as he waited for the rabbit. There was no need to look for Hua Wudao everywhere. If Hua Wudao knew who the mastermind behind the Fish Dragon incident was, it would be even better. At this moment, the best person for him to get information from was Hua Wudao. The witchcraft elite from the palace was extremely cunning. He was capable of setting up the grand witchcraft formation at Measure Heaven River and observing the situation through the red flying chariot while giving out orders at the same time. It was apparent that he was highly skilled in witchcraft. Moreover, he was powerful enough to command Chinju, one of the 3 godly archers. He must enjoy a high status and have great influence as well. After the battle at Measure Heaven River, this elite would surely be more cautious and cunning. Jiang Aijian had connections in the palace, but even he could not approach that person, let alone someone like Lu Zhou, who was an outsider. Hua Wudao. Lu Zhou muttered to himself. Our sect master is honestly preoccupied right now. I should be beheaded for making you wait. Grand Master. Zhang Chu, the 5th elder, said with a bow. Lu Zhou merely looked at him indifferently before ignoring him. He's only a divine court realm cultivator, and yet he's already an elder of the sect. It seems like the righteous sect isn't what it used to be. Duan Xing walked out and said, Everyone, the battle below the Green Jade altar is over for now. Since our plans have been disrupted, why don't we continue this discussion some other time? Good suggestion. Zhang Chu said with a nod. Well, then I'll be taking my leave. Duan Xing ignored the other disciples on the Green Jade altar. He merely cupped his fist toward Zhang Chu. Lu Zhou gave this man another glance. Strange. There's nothing special about him. Duan Xing turned around and walked up to Lu Zhou. He spoke reverently. Grandmaster, I have something that I have to attend to. I'll be taking my leave. Wait. Lu Zhou spoke calmly. Do you have any instructions for me, Grandmaster? Duan Xing did not dare slight Lu Zhou, immediately coming to a halt. I have a piece of advice for Ren Buping. I shall pass on your words of wisdom in its entirety to the Temple Master, Grandmaster. Duan Xing appeared to be listening respectfully. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and nodded as he said, Protect the Fiend Temple and mind your own business. Otherwise, you'll bring upon your own demise. Duan Xing was taken aback by these words. He did not understand what the Grandmaster meant, but he did not dare to question it. He bowed and said, Thank you, Grandmaster. Farewell then. He waved his arm. With the Fiend Temple's disciples in tow, he left the Green Jade altar. Lu Zhou looked at the time again. He felt that it was about time for him to leave. With Mingshi Yin and Duan Mushang's speed, they should not be hindered just because they were carrying another person. Moreover, the 2 of them had just recently entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm, so their speed should have improved even more. Just when Lu Zhou was about to leave, a voice rang from behind the Green Jade altar disciples. Which Grandmaster came to visit the Green Jade altar? Let me have a look at him. The disciples on the Green Jade altar moved backward and cleared a path between them. Zhang Qiuqi. Zhang Chu went up to meet the person who had spoken. It was none other than the righteous sect Zhang Qiuqi. Lu Zhou vaguely remembered this person. He defeated Mingshi Yin some years ago. Mingshi Yin was badly bruised back then. Mingshi Yin was once depressed because of this. He hid in the mountains and cultivated painstakingly. Now that a few years had passed, Zhang Qiuqi's strength and cultivation base should have improved as well. Zhang Qiuqi was polite. When he saw Bayan sitting near Lu Zhou, he was slightly taken aback. He quickly regained his senses and said, Greetings, Grandmaster. Lu Zhou ignored him. He looked at little Yuaner and said, Let's go. MHM. Grandmaster. Zhang Qiuqi was puzzled by Lu Zhou's cold treatment. All of a sudden, the disciples on the Green Jade altar disciples exclaimed in surprise, Someone's coming. Everyone looked up, including Zhang Qiuqi. It was understandable that Zhang Qiuqi did not recognize Lu Zhou. After all, Lu Zhou's appearance had changed considerably. However, there was no doubt that he would be able to recognize the Evil Sky Pavilion's 4th disciple, Mingshi Yin. In recent years, one of the biggest factors that contributed to Zhang Qiuqi's meteoric rise was his victory over the Evil Sky Pavilion's 4th disciple, Mingshi Yin. He became excited when he saw Mingshi Yin flying toward him. Mingshi Yin? He's coming to the Green Jade altar. It's Mingshi Yin? The Evil Sky Pavilion's 4th villain, Mingshi Yin. The disciples on the Green Jade altar were shocked. Since their cultivation bases were low, they did not dare to recklessly charge at Mingshi Yin. Moreover, the sect master and other elders were not around. Fortunately, they had Zhang Qiuqi, who was a match for Ming Shirin, and Zhang Qiuqi, who had defeated Ming Shirin before. This was like a golden opportunity, granted to them by the heavens. Lu Zhou's expression remained indifferent when he saw Ming Shirin. However, inwardly he felt suspicious. Duanmu Sheng should be with him. Where is he? At this moment, Zhang Qiuqi leaped into the air. He laughed and said, "The heavens are on my side. I'll capture this villain alive today. We'll see who dares to look down on the righteous sect after this. With Elder Zhang here, there won't be any problem with capturing the villain. We're willing to cheer the Elder on." Zhang Qiuqi nodded. He said to Lu Zhou, who was next to him, "Grand Master, I'll place him in your care." Lu Zhou waved his hand and said nothing. Many disciples on the green jade altar leaped into the air as well. Those with weaker cultivation bases could only stay on the green jade altar and watch. A hint of excitement could be seen in Zhang Qiuqi's eyes as he flew toward Ming Shirin. Lu Zhou leaped onto Baian's back. He stroked his beard calmly. Everything is predestined. Little Yuana leaped onto Baian as well. What's predestined? It's Zhang Yuanshan and Hua Wudao's destinies. It's also your fourth senior brother's destiny. Baian growled and leaped into the air. At the same time, Ming Shirin sailed through the air. The green jade was already in sight. Then, he suddenly turned in another direction. This was the righteous sect's territory, after all. Where's Master? Ming Shirin scratched his head as he surveyed his surroundings. He slowed down, preparing to descend. He looked behind him as he muttered to himself, "Third senior brother should be here soon. Although he doesn't have the Overlord spear, I'm still faster than he is." He laughed gleefully. Ming Shirin was still feeling pleased with himself when a shrill cry rang from the direction of the green jade altar. Ming Shirin! Ming Shirin looked behind. He frowned. He recognized the person immediately. He cried out, "Zhang Qiuqi, it's you! There are paths to heaven, and yet you abandon them. There are no doors to hell, and yet you've barged right in." Zhang Qiuqi hovered in the air with his hands on his back. He looked at Ming Shirin with a burning gaze as though he was looking at his prey. Ming Shirin waved his hand and said, "I'm in no mood to fight you today. Have you seen my master?" Zhang Qiuqi was momentarily stunned. Then he said in a deep voice, "Do you think you can frighten me with your master's name? I'll mete out justice on behalf of the heavens today." "Wait!" Ming Shirin waved his hand again. "I'm serious. Have you seen my master?" Zhang Qiuqi was provoked by Ming Shirin's seemingly flippant behavior. He said harshly, "If I see him, I'll kill him as well." BZZ, primal chi converged from the surroundings. Zhang Qiuqi made a few hand seals, and Taoist Madras began circling him. Primal chi continued to surge. Nascent divinity tribulation realm. At this moment, the disciples from the Green Jade altar who finally caught up to them landed on the ground, surrounding them. Ming Shirin looked at the sky and did not see his master at all. "I've fallen for master's tricks again." Everyone witnessed Zhang Qiuqi's nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivation base. The disciples on the Green Jade altar were excited when they saw this. Ming Shirin frowned. When he saw the Taoist Madras increasing number, he shook his head and said, "I told you that I don't want to fight, and yet you're forcing me to fight you." Zhang Qiuqi scoffed and charged at Ming Shirin. "You don't have a say in this." Primal chi surged from Ming Shirin's body, and a protective energy parried the Madras. Then he said, "It's been a few years. Have your Madras gotten weaker? You're a loser who can only rely on your glib tongue." Zhang Qiuqi attacked at lightning speed. Bang, bang, bang. Both of them were instantly engaged in a battle, leaving afterimages in the air. Energy waves intertwined and collided. Ming Shirin retreated as he fought. He conjured up energy waves to parry Zhang Qiuqi's attacks. Bang, bang, bang. Many of the disciples' cultivation bases were lower than the Brahmin Sea realm. It was rare for them to witness a battle between nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivators. They looked suitably impressed. The Elders' Madras are excellent. I'm sure the villain will lose very soon. To be honest, I'm quite confused. It said that Ji Tiandao intentionally suppresses his remaining disciples. Even then, they're a match for Elder Zhang, who's at the nascent divinity tribulation realm. It's nothing strange. Elder Zhang isn't using his full strength yet. Let's watch for a while longer. Even without Elder Zhang, we still have the Grandmaster. There's no need to worry. The crowd was satisfied with the discourse. They calmed down and continued watching the battle. Taoist Madras were similar to Zen Madras. Mingshi knew how to deal with these Madras. He kept using his energy to parry the incoming Madras. This way, Zhang Qiuqi became the attacker, while Mingshi became the passive defender. "Oh, geezer, don't make me do this." Mingshi waved his arms. He kept conjuring waves of energy to block the attacks. Bang, bang, bang. Mingshi continued to retreat as he defended himself. Zhang Qiuqi bellowed, "Too weak." He did not think highly of Mingshi at all. The energy around him erupted again. Mingshi felt that something was amiss as the look in his eyes changed. This old geezer seemed to be stronger than before. He looked at his surroundings, feeling wary about this place. After all, this place was not too far from the Green Jade altar. If Zhang Yuanshan and the other elders appeared, he would be in a disadvantageous position. At this moment, Mingshi saw Zhang Qiuqi spread his palms before dozens of Madras were launched at him. A burst of primal chi surged out of his body as he quickly retreated. Bang, bang, bang. Mingshi was continuously forced to retreat. Zhang was delighted that he gained the upper hand. He crowed, "As expected, you're as weak as before." Mingshi turned around and fled. He did it on purpose? Zhang Qiuqi was taken aback. Mingshi was several meters away in an instant. Indeed, he had relied on the impact of Zhang Qiuqi's attacks to flee. "Come catch me if you dare. My third senior brother and master will be coming soon." Zhang Qiuqi thought nothing of this. He called out coldly, "Running away? You're too late." He quickly unleashed his 100 Tribulations Insight avatar. 100 Tribulations Insight. Grand technique. With the two active ultimate skills, Zhang Qiuqi moved at breakneck speed. In just a blink of an eye, he appeared next to Mingshi and struck with his palm. Boom! "I knew you'd do this, you old geezer." Mingshi instantly activated his 100 Tribulations Insight avatar as well and parried Zhang Qiuqi's powerful strike. However, Zhang Qiuqi had a two-leaf golden lotus avatar. Mingshi leafless avatar was much smaller compared to a two-leaf avatar. It was like a child facing off against an adult. When their avatars' energies collided, Mingshi fell to ground with a loud rumble. The disciples from the Green Jade altar had rushed over at this moment and witnessed this majestic scene. With Elder Zhang's two-leaf avatar, this Mingshi will surely lose. However, we shouldn't underestimate Mingshi as well. I didn't expect him to have an avatar. He's already a nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivator. He has rotten luck. Elder Zhang's the only one here, and he ran into him. Elder Zhang is destined to be the bane of Mingshi life. The disciples from the Green Jade altar were excited and proud when they saw this scene. Meanwhile, Bayan hovered in the horizons. Zhou sat on its back as he stroked his beard and calmly watched on. "Master, aren't we going to help fourth senior brother?" Lu Yuaner asked. Mingshi has been in the divine court realm for a long time. He's not any less talented than Duanmu Sheng. If I help him, how's he supposed to train himself in actual battle? Zhou said, "You're really wise, Master. I want to fight as well with them." Little Yuaner pointed at the disciples on the Green Jade altar. "Just watch. Don't butt in." Zhou chided. "Oh." The disciples on the Green Jade altar disciples were low-ranked cultivators. It was meaningless to fight them.